Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have deKay on the line, and he is a director over at Athletic Pictures, and this episode is part of our AFM series where we bring you the best of those that attended and participated in AFM, that's American Film Market, over in Century City or Los Angeles, California. Nicholas, welcome to the show. All right, man. Well, great to have you on today. I definitely want to get into what you're doing over at Athletic Pictures and also your transition from a stuntman to filmmaker. So I know there's a story in that one I want to get for sure. But to get us kicked off here, AFM this year, how did it go for you? What brought you out? Give me some of the backstory.
So my business partner and I went out to AFM this year to pitch a couple of projects that we're trying to get funding for. One is called Eat the Rich Day. It's an action thriller that's a little spicy. And another was a documentary about Muay Thai fighters in Thailand.
That's awesome. Have you been before? Or is this your first time coming out? I'm just curious about the backstory on how you made it to AFM. Are you part of the network? Or?
So I had never been. One of the producers that I stunt coordinate for quite regularly, he's been browbeating me to go out to AFM for years. And I finally went the year that he couldn't make it because his daughter was just born, so he was stuck in Italy.
So did it meet your expectations? It was pretty packed this year. I was there, and I had a ball. I'm curious, and you're as a first-time participant.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. The panels were definitely very interesting. You could see some very clear trends in the industry from what people were talking about and what the panels were. And there's obviously a lot of discussion of AI content and then the emergence of the microdrama verticals and things like that and how that impacts filmmaking as a whole.
Well, let's get back to you for a bit here. You were a stuntman, according to what I see, right? From stuntman to director. Talk to me about that. How'd you get into the business?
So I initially got into the business in 2008. I owned an MMA gym at the time, and a filmmaker came by my gym, wanted to do his movie there, and I said, sure, but you got to put me in the movie. And he asked what I could do, and I told him I could fight, because at the time I was fighting Muay Thai. Yeah. And he ended up hooking me up with the stunt guys and putting me in the movie as a assassin guy. And I really fell in love with the industry after that and kept at it until I could eventually sell my gym and make a full-time career as a stuntman and then a filmmaker.
Man, what a story. That's great. What was it like as you got into that business? You obviously loved it if you got rid of it, sold the gym and then got into it and went full time. What was that like?
So it was really cool because I grew up, I raced cars, I raced motorcycles, and I fought professionally. So I had all these kind of odd, disparate skills that never really were that good at making a career out of them. I mean, I owned a gym, but it didn't combine all three of my kind of passions. And then
that makes sense. So all these other things that you wanted to do and you had the skill, you're like, yeah, I can do that. I've been doing that for, you know what I mean? I'm kind of trying to put myself in your shoes.
Yeah. So when they're like, oh, we need a stunt double who can fight and drive a car and do a motorcycle wheelie, it's like, hey, I can do all those things.
You're like, check.
So it ended up being a relatively smooth transition, as much as any transition in film can be smooth.
Talk to me about entering the directing side of things. What was that like?
So early in my career, I worked for Chad Stahelski, who directed John Wick, but he's a stuntman turned director. And he gave me a piece of advice. He said, if you want to learn to be good at this craft and you want to be more than just a guy who falls on the ground and gets hit in the head, you got to figure out how the sausage is made, so to speak. So he said, take your favorite.
That's good advice. Go ahead.
He said, take your favorite fight scenes, so be it a Donnie Yen fight or a Jackie Chan fight or Jet Li or whatever, and recreate those fights shot for shot. And he said, and until you can do it shot for shot and it looks identical to what those guys do, just assume you suck. He's got a great bedside manner. And I took the advice to heart and I started doing that. And in doing so, I really became enamored with the medium itself and how you can tell a story with camera and how you can. And then I started realizing what in these fight sequences is real and what is something that my brain put together, but actually wasn't nearly as, complex as I thought it was. And so I started doing that after I met him, I think in 2012 on the Hunger Games series, and then just kept at it. And in I think 2016, I started making short films of my own. And then I did a feature-length documentary during COVID that eventually got distributed, and you can watch on Amazon. So,
and what's the name of that? I mean, come on, man. We reach a lot of people here. I want to send some stuff that you better drop some names here. It's appropriate.
Yeah, it's called The Ark of Lilburn.
The Ark of Lilburn. Go ahead and tee it up for me. What's it about?
So, ostensibly, it's about this guy who built a 130,000-pound boat in the middle of Lilburn, Georgia, which is nowhere near an ocean, and what it takes to move. And then we moved that boat to the water. And the boat's 55 feet long, 26 feet tall, 18 feet wide. So it can't go over a bridge, can't go under a bridge, 2 lanes wide, etc. But it was really a story about a father and a son and a transition because the father's retiring and the son's buying him out of his business. And so it's about all this other stuff that's kind of around the core story of moving this boat.
Give me the name again. The Ark. So that's
Ark, like the Ark of the Covenant, but the Ark of Lilburn. Yep.
And how do you spell that last part? I'm not catching it. What's that last part?
Lilburn.
So Lilv what?
B as in boy.
Okay.
URN. Lilburn.
The Ark of Lilburn. All right, I got you. The Ark of Lilburn. Lilburn. I'm being specific because I want my audience to go check it out. How did you come up? How did you originally get to this film? Like the idea for it?
So I was there making a short film at the Porter Seal, which is where this boat was constructed, and it was a short film about a dystopian future where if you have a really bad social credit score, they throw you into a Running Man style game. And so we're there and doing this little short film, and Cole, who's the son of the owner of the business, he says, "Hey, you got to check out our boat." And we're like, yeah, whatever. And so finally he takes us to the room where this boat is, and 130,000-pound steel yacht is a lot of boat to be landlocked hundreds of miles away from the ocean. And we're like, what in the heck are you doing with this thing? And it was in the middle of the building with walls all the way around it. And he's like, my dad built this thing. I don't know why, but it's costing this business a ton of money and I need it out of here. And I said, well, if you guys ever decide to move it, let us film it because that looks ridiculous and fun. And we were shut down because of COVID. SAG had said you can't work. So we were kind of doing our own thing. So the show I was on, at the time I was on Stranger Things, doubling the Eddie character. And we were shut down from that because Netflix had pulled the plug on everything. So we were like, this is the time. If you want us to film it, we can do it. And then his dad was like, yeah, I want to move this thing out of here. So we filmed it. And it was wild. And it ended up being a very different story than I thought it was going to be. Because I just thought it was going to be kind of like a Discovery Channel, move a boat out. But it ended up being this really kind of sweet father-son story and just about trying to please your dad and how hard that is and how fathers have a hard time showing their sons, but letting their sons know when they actually do something that's worthwhile or good. Lo Porter doesn't really give his son a break ever, which I think a lot of men might feel that way about their fathers. Like they never could get their dad to just be like, hey, man, good job. And so you get to kind of see all this play out in real time. And I think it's a really poignant story about that father. But, on its face, it's about moving a boat. But I think the undercurrent of it is much more interesting.
So you mentioned you had some new projects that you're working on or are in various stages. Get into that a bit. What's going on? What are you working on right now?
So Eat the Rich Day I can give you the quick pitch. The premise is a group of hackers create a website called eattherichday.com. And on this site, every billionaire on earth is loaded on it, and anyone can bid using Bitcoin to increase the bounty on said billionaires. And on Eat the Rich Day, the top 50 with the highest bounties, that becomes the bounty for murdering them and live streaming it to the internet. And so the movie's about it. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Yeah.
That's so gnarly. I was like, and so for all the billionaires that listen to my show right now, sorry, there's a couple of them.
It turns out it's really hard to get, because generally speaking, films are funded by very wealthy people. And we found that raising money is really difficult.
Man, I feel like this is a crowdfunding effort, honestly.
A lot of people have told us that. Yeah, no, we've actually
like it's a crowdfunding effort.
Yeah, and it's actually, it's a single location film. It was written to be low budget. So it's only about $1.5 million to $2 million total budget, and it's already cast. So we'll either find the rather contrarian high net worth individual who wants to play, because I think the movie would do pretty well. I think the public wants to see this movie. The reception at the AFM pitch conference from the crowd was pretty. It seemed like they were all very interested in seeing this movie. But obviously,
and then there was another one you mentioned. And then you mentioned one about, I think, Muay Thai fighters as well?
Yeah, so I fought professional Muay Thai in Thailand. And
wow, in Thailand. So you were there fighting. That's amazing. Holy smokes.
It was good fun. And I absolutely adore Thailand. I love the culture. I think it's a really wonderful place if you're into Muay Thai, you should at least go train there for a couple of weeks. It's totally worth it. But it's their national sport, and in the same way that our kids might play Little League football or whatever, kids in Thailand fight Muay Thai, and I found that really fascinating. And I met people that by the time they're 18 years old, they've had 70, 80 professional fights. Wow. And I thought that was really interesting, so I really wanted to do a documentary about kids who grow up in Muay Thai and that transition from being a boxer at, say, 12, 13 years old, all the way up to like what that looks like for adults. I mean, you have guys like Senshai, who's I think 45 years old and had 300 plus fights, but he started fighting when he was a child. And so now he's an international superstar and most likely a multimillionaire. And so he grew up quite poor. So it's just like football is in the United States a vehicle for socioeconomic class change. It is there too. It's just, the change is a little bit more dramatic there from their impoverished classes to their middle class and wealthy classes. But I just think it would be a fascinating documentary, and I don't see children fighting Muay Thai to be all that much different than children playing football as far as what the actual injury rates are. And in fact, that's something I want to explore is like, do kids in American football, like does a high school kid playing American football have more or less injury than, like, say, a high school kid who's fighting professional Muay Thai? And my gut tells me it's probably about the same. But I know a lot of Americans would find the idea of children boxing to be distasteful, but I personally don't. So I'm kind of neutral on it because, I mean, I started martial arts at 6 and was competing in junior high and high school. So I just think it would be an interesting thing to see and just to kind of shine a light on that little aspect of humanity. I think it'd be fun.
Man, that's awesome. Well, Nick, I mean, this has been a lot of fun having you on the show today. You're definitely a dynamic individual and director. Like, I'm excited. I'm gonna go check that out. The Ark of Lilburn. I was able to find it while we've been chatting, and I want everybody else to go check it out. It's on Tubi. I saw it on Tubi. I see it on Amazon Prime as well. So, if you're watching this, go check that out. And Nick, if somebody wants to follow you, connect about this movie, follow your work in general. Obviously, you're on IMDb. I was able to find you there pretty easy, but how do people connect? How do they follow you?
My Instagram's really easy. It's Nick deKay, just my name, NickDekay. I regularly post like silly little movies and stuff on it, and it's an easy way to get in touch with me. That's probably the best.
Fantastic. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on them and head right on over and connect with Nick. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content. You heard me right. Daily, we have plenty of amazing interviews coming up for you, and we don't want you to miss a thing. So hit that subscribe or follow. And Nick, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next AFM, man. Appreciate all you do.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good one.